here in Athens, Georgia. Not sure how it is where Jason and Chris are.
It's been raining on
A
and
hot
off here all
Monday.
day.
Yeah. So again, like I told Jason, last non-special show. So we get into our division previews, our division season.
Mm-hmm.
On Friday. So, Chris, my external hard drive still isn't working, but I did make a new PowerPoint, however, a little one, tiny
All right.
for today's show. So, yeah, let's get it going. There was not much news again. The weekend, everyone's just getting into mandatory minicamp right now, going through protocols and everything. So before we get to football, though, we're going to go to football. Yeah, very scary sight on Saturday. Christian Eriksen, I know I posted it on all our social media.
Mm-hmm.
9-year-old striker for Denmark collapsed on the field. Was the medical staff said he was actually gone before they resuscitated him on the field, and that really hit me. It's like I was literally just watching the game and this thing happens, and at first I didn't think it was anything. I thought he got pushed and that's why he got onto the ground, but then I saw another video later that you could really see he started stumbling before the ball even got to him off the throw, and very scary scene. I told Jason, we were talking pre-show, that was the worst thing I've ever seen as far as injuries on the field. It wasn't an injury, but
Yeah, it seems like it's always the worst injuries, quote unquote, are always the ones that don't involve multiple players. It's always something that happens to the player that gets hurt. It's a freak thing. I mean, obviously what happened with him is something that nobody could have really seen coming. But I mean, I personally didn't see the video I didn't see it live. I didn't see it. So, but I saw the notification pop up on my phone, and obviously that's something that is notification worthy because I don't follow that or anything on any of my things. But it was just such a big story because, yeah, somebody that young collapsing like that, and you said, it's a scary thing.
And it was in a major tournament. That was why it was so big. It's the European Championship. So, yeah. Jason, I don't know if you had any thoughts. You're the doctor.
Yeah, no, I mean, one of the things we touched on is just how particularly heart issues pop up in sports. I mean, we've all heard various instances where a player just kind of passes out or drops dead, and it's usually too late by the time it comes around. But at least in this case, they were able to stabilize him, get him back to being able to respond, and looking up from here. But incredibly scary sight at that moment, I'm sure.
Yeah, and then you saw all the Danish players surround him, kind of to shield him from people being able to see what the medical people were doing. And then when the thing that really got me was I wasn't really old enough to comprehend at the time, but when the medical people and the players were walking him out on the stretcher, and they were having the towels up around him as well, that really reminded me of Dale Earnhardt dying, because like I said, I was only 4 or 5 years old when Dale Earnhardt died, but one thing I do remember from that was them putting everyone trying to cover him up, and that's what I was like, wow, he literally could be on that stretcher just dead. So, luckily though, the fantastic medical people there at the Euros and Denmark there got him to the hospital and were able to stabilize him and stuff. So, best wishes to Christian Eriksen and the Eriksen family there. All right, let's start with some NFL news here. So, Chris's boy, I'll call him Chris's boy, Chris. He was on the Jets. Le'Veon Bell, still a free agent right now, was in the news recently. He said he will never play. He will never play for Andy Reid again. He was on the Chiefs last year. That he would rather retire than play for Andy Reid again. One of the respected coaches in the NFL.
Yeah. I used to like Le'Veon, like before he was Jet in his first few games as a Jet, whatever. But then I came to realize that he just complains about everything. When something doesn't go his way, he just complains. And like you said, Andy Reid is one of the most respected and one of the best coaches in the NFL. So I don't understand why somebody wouldn't want to play for him. I mean, obviously the Chiefs they don't really run the ball too often. And I mean, he was the backup or the third string for them last year when he was there? So like, he obviously wasn't going to get a lot of playing time, but I don't think there was any personal feelings from Andy Reid there. I think it was purely just because of Le'Veon is not the same player he used to be. So I think that's just Le'Veon airing out his emotions and aiming it and blaming it at the wrong people. And just a side note, when you said my boy, I was thinking of another former Jet that has been in the news too.
Oh,
but
we'll talk about him. But yeah, Le'Veon went to a team who had just drafted a running back in the first round last year. So he knew. Mark or Jason, any thoughts on Le'Veon's comments on Andrew?
Well, just like I said before the show started, I think that it's an anomaly, right? How many times have we read stories about players love to play for Andy Reid, that he's a player's coach, that he has relationships with them, that he talks to them, that he communicates really well. And so either they're flabbergasted stories, right? Or this is an anomaly. And I just think that's crazy. He said he would rather retire. And he said, I'm not going to go into details. It makes me curious of what happened.
Yeah. No clue.
Absolutely. Especially, again, when you lead with the fact that it's Andy Reid, you really do kind of want the details, because otherwise it's just like, are you just finding an excuse, or did something actually happen and there's something substantive there? Because, I mean, if you said, anybody else, especially, some hard ass, and you'd be like, okay, well, I can understand why you don't like that guy. But it's just like Andy Reid. I don't know.
Yeah. He's done well. He's done well throughout his career with guys that have sort of, supposed attitude issues, in Philadelphia. P.O. Donovan McNabb even had a little bit of an edge to him. Shady is a big personality as well that he handled there. So.
Yeah, but it just goes to show, though, too, that when Le'Veon's comments came out, multiple players and other NFL personnel came to Andy Reid's defense, including current Chief Tyrann Mathieu. And so, yeah, it's just Le'Veon. There was something in the water in Pittsburgh a few years ago that clearly has affected a couple of players.
Well, yeah, AB and Le'Veon drink the same juice, so.
Oh God, I hope not.
Luckily, AB found himself a second future Hall of Fame quarterback to win a championship. and that
And he learned to just
future
shut
Hall
the
of Fame
heck up.
quarterback actually likes it. All right. Moving on to, like we said, Chris, your other Jet here. So the Jets agreed to a renegotiated contract with wide receiver Jamison Crowder. He'll be a free agent next year at the age of 28, hoping to cash in once again.
Wait, that is also not who I was talking about, but yeah, I'm glad to have Crowder around for another year. Obviously, we just drafted Elijah Moore to kind of take his place next year, but I don't know. I still think that Elijah Moore will get plenty of playing time this year. I don't know if Crowder will get as much as he has in the past. So, but yeah, I've enjoyed the time that Crowder has been on the Jets. He's probably been our best receiver in the 2 or 3 years that he's been with the Jets. So, I mean, hopefully he balls out this year and earns himself a new contract for next year, but probably won't be here in New York.
Yeah, I have him on one of my dynasty teams, so I'm just kind of sitting and waiting, especially that dynasty. The two I do on my fantasy league. You can't add any free agents right now until after the rookie draft. So I'd rather just him and Le'Veon. I have both of them, and I don't think they're on the same team. I think I have one on each, but I'm just kind of like holding serve right now until the rookie draft happens. See what else is available out there that I can. And I'm waiting on Le'Veon to sign with someone, hopefully. I don't know. I do know who you're talking about, though, Chris. Your other guy. He's the second to last news nugget. So, also getting a reworked deal. The Vikings getting one done with their star pass rusher Danielle Hunter. That one we actually have some details on. The Crowder one I didn't have any details. But he gave $5.6 million of his 2021 salary and a signing bonus right up front, and they also added an $18 million roster bonus on the 5th day of the 2022 league year. So that's when the Vikings will have to make a decision whether they release, trade, or re-sign him, or sign him to an extension. Otherwise, he's probably going to make around $20 million next year.
I mean, he's a solid player, so he deserves every penny he's going to get. But yeah, the Vikings, I feel like, have a lot of financial decisions to make in the near future, and I mean, he's one of them.
Well, if Kellen Mond develops, I mean, they can get rid of Kirk Cousins' contract. So, which I'm a believer in Kellen Mond. I like Kellen Mond. So, especially in the style, the system that they run. I don't know why I was blanking on who the OC is in Minnesota. Is it still Gary's son? Is Clint Kubiak still running it?
I don't know.
I don't remember either. Yes, Clint Kubiak. I was right. I thought I was right. Maybe I got to be more confident. Clint Kubiak, though, Vikings OC, has been with a lot of good head coaches throughout his time. Starting off his first job with his dad in Denver with Gary Kubiak there. So, next thing on the docket here, staying in the AFC, going back to the AFC East, I should say. Dolphins They signed linebacker Jerome Baker to a 3-year, $39 million extension with $28.4 million guaranteed. Really solid player for an up-and-coming Dolphins defense. Chris.
Yeah, I mean, it's just he is a good player, but I can't like him because he's a Dolphin. But with the players that they've brought in and the players that they've let go, I feel like he's kind of like the new. I think he can slide in as like the new leader of that defense and kind of help fill the void left by McCain when they let him go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Could definitely see Jerome Baker taking on the defensive captainship this fall. Did not think that he would turn out to be as good as he has been when he came out of Ohio State a couple years ago. So,
I mean, there you go, right there. He's a linebacker from Ohio State.
well, that's the thing, though. The linebackers from Ohio State usually aren't very highly touted when they come out, and they usually turn out to be pretty solid guys. So, like the three that they had this year, I think I don't remember where any of them went. And
Turner is in New Orleans. Or no, not Turner. I mean,
Pete Warner.
Yes, Warner. Thank you.
Okay. Well, yeah. Situation, but usually they turn out to be pretty good. Though. Next, we have the Dolphins also signing a free agent today. Literally just happened. Former Patriot,
Shocker.
offensive lineman Jermaine Illuminor, spent the last 2 seasons with the Patriots. Just offensive line depth. Has been a decent player throughout his career. I believe I don't want to say that because I don't even want to think about what round he was or guess.
No, but I'm not shocked that the Dolphins are signing yet another expatriate, even though it wasn't part of the team that Brian Flores came from. But still, I think that they run similar systems there, being that Flores is from the Belichick coaching tree. So, I mean, that's probably why they would sign a guy like that. That's all I can.
Yeah, it's like a vote of confidence. You know how like Belichick is just like, you know, oh, you play with Nick, you're good enough to be a Patriot. So like every second pick they have comes from there. So it's similar. It's like, you know, if you're good enough to play for, you know, William, you can play for me, and you know what the expectations are. So I think there's maybe kind of that kind of reciprocity going on there from that respect for Belichick, or just trying to establish New England South. But
hey, it's working though. The Dolphins have been pretty good.
Yeah, he's literally the only former disciple that has actually worked out so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Patricia's back with the Patriots now, and McDaniel still hasn't left yet.
Yeah,
something to be said for working for somebody and then learning from somebody. We're seeing the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they definitely needed that offensive line depth. Just looking at some of their backup guys, especially interior, since he is an interior offensive lineman. Yeah, I mean, the backups are Michael Dieter, Tyler Gauthier, and Adam Pankey, the 3 interior backups. So,
yeah, I'd say they need some depth.
I think Jermaine has a shot at winning one of those jobs. So.
Now, he could play any of those positions, though?
I believe so. I'm not so sure on center. I know he can play both guards. Not so sure that he can play center, but I believe he has before when he was with the Ravens. Next, all right, Chris. Now it's your guys' time. Your guys' guy. The Eagles. They signed their third quarterback today. Quarterback Nick Mullins, former San Francisco 49er, the guy that Chris has been pining after the whole offseason for the Jets to sign. Philadelphia.
Yeah,
And
I mean, we talked about this on Friday when the Eagles cut the other guy that they had.
Jamie Newman.
Jamie Newman. We talked about it, and we talked about how they needed to add another quarterback, but we didn't think it was going to be one like this that's actually going to compete for a job, like the backup job. But yeah, now Nick Mullins, who I thought was the best available quarterback, is now off the board.
Well,
and now I'm finally on the RG3 train like you, because he's the only good available one left right now.
Well, I will tell you the Jets do still have a shot at Nick Mullins. I will tell you that because what I heard and what I've seen on Twitter from Eagles beat reporters, specifically Jeff McClain, that's where I get a lot of my stuff from for the Eagles. He said that Mullins is coming in as third quarterback. He's not going to compete with Joe Flacco for the backup job. But there is a chance that the Eagles only keep two, and he's available for some other team in August.
So they're basically doing what the Jets did a few years ago with Bridgewater.
It's a camp run.
Yeah.
Like I said, though, on Friday, like they had to sign someone. They needed at least three quarterbacks. You can't not have three quarterbacks in mini camp and training camp. So, But fun fact for Nick Mullins, this from Field Yates today. Nick Mullins is second all time in NFL history in yards thrown in his first 16 starts. 4,405 yards. And you know who he trails?
Who?
There's only one.
Jimmy G, right?
Huh?
Is it Jimmy?
No, it is a Super Bowl champion, recent Super Bowl champion.
Oh, Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes. So, yeah, great stat for Nick Mullins. He can carry that on forever until Trevor Lawrence breaks it this year.
I don't know about that.
I see to believe it. He's good shot at fix that hamstring and actually practice right now.
I'm just
Based
saying.
on how things have gone so far, I think Zach Wilson has the best chance of the rookies to do that. I'm not being a homer. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but they're running essentially the Kyle Shanahan style offense. They're not going to throw the rock around.
Yeah.
They're going to run and they're going to run play action. That's what the Kyle Shanahan style system does.
Yeah, that's true.
With freaking Tevin Coleman until he rolls his ankle week 2. And then it's LaMichael P. Ryan and what's his face? The guy that I drafted.
Michael Carter.
The guy that I drafted in the first round, I don't even know his name. In our dynasty. Yeah. Michael Carter is gonna take over. But before we get to the last thing, just Field Yates coming on here. The Vikings are making progress to bring back defensive tackle Sheldon Richardson. Deal's not done yet, but Sheldon Richardson should remain in Minnesota once again. So
that's a solid move on their part. Wow, there's a lot of like former Jets news in this podcast, but yeah, Richardson, I always liked him. Obviously, he won Defensive Rookie of the Year with the Jets, and the Jets just made the wrong decision back when they had to make the decision between him and Muhammad Wilkerson. And they chose Wilkerson, and obviously we saw how that worked out. Wilkerson's been out of the league now for however many years, and Sheldon Richardson is still, even though he's been on like 5 different teams, he's still in the league and he's still producing. So, yeah.
Yeah, and he'll have a running mate now with Michael Pierce coming back out of the opt-out from last season. Big free agent addition in 2019 for the Vikings. In 2020, I should say, before he opted out. But yeah, and Chris, the whole lot of former Jets, current Jets news, that's just priming us up for Friday. AFC season preview. Last thing on the docket today. Wow, we haven't even hit a half an hour. Y'all have been quiet.
Well, wait, there is another former Jet that I'm surprised you didn't really want to touch on today. With Jamal Adams.
Adams.
He didn't go to the voluntary camp, and he's planning on holding out in the mandatory camp because he wants the new deal.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the not showing up to mini camp things, I just don't put them on the script because there's a lot of guys that aren't coming. I mean, there's a lot of people showing up too. Like, you want to stick with the Jets, Chris? Marcus May showed up. Are they actually going to pay a safety this time?
I think so. They should, at least with him. I think he's been solid for the Jets, but yeah, I mean, for once, I think the Jets actually made the right decision when it came to trading away Adams and keeping Marcus May.
Especially for what they got.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the deal's not complete yet because they still have the first round pick next year, but they used two of the picks that they got from the Seahawks to get Elijah Vera Tucker, which I think he was a huge pickup for them. So right now, I think the Jets are winning that trade.
Yeah, I think they won it from the start. They faced John Snyder had a lot of picks for a safety.
I would say historically, anytime somebody in the secondary gets to being a problem, it's always beneficial to trade them off and get whatever you can for them. So it's working out so far. It's only going to get better under Saleh.
I mean, not that he didn't have a good season for the Seahawks, but I am in the realm of old school football thinking where no player is worth multiple first round picks unless they're a quarterback. So.
I mean, I think the only reason that the Seahawks did that trade is because they're in win now mode. And their window is closing very quickly. So they wanted to get a guy like Adams. And like you said, he performed well for them, but the rest of that defense was just atrocious last year.
Well, yeah. I would have rather went and spent 2 first round picks on a pass rusher.
I think the Seahawks are one of the most intriguing situations. I don't want to say team, but intriguing situations. So you had, Russell Wilson come out recently and say, some people just get disgruntled, but I'm happy to be here. Well, ask me how that is because that division's tough. They've added pieces. If they're setting at 0-4 to start the season, and what kind of body language he's saying in his press conferences, or 0-4 in the conference at least.
Well, especially, I mean, the division didn't get any easier.
That's what I'm saying. It got tougher. You know what I mean? And so I just think it's an intriguing situation because I do think they're on the backside of how good they've been, if that makes sense. I mean, they might surprise us and win the division. I don't know, but now you have the guy that you traded for to kind of help your defense. Now he's, holding out, and you did have a little rift with your quarterback. So what does that look like, come trade deadline time?
Yeah. And that's the thing. Your boy, Matty Stafford's about to carve that Seahawks defense up this year, Mark. So
let's only hope.
Yeah, I mean, I think the same thing has happened to the Seahawks. The Seahawks situation is similar to how the Eagles have been. The Eagles didn't get their star quarterback with Carson Wentz didn't work out. But I'm saying in terms of GMs and success rates, both the Eagles and the Seahawks have not drafted relatively well the last 3 seasons. Specifically, both teams on defense, just draft picks have not worked out, especially with the Seahawks first-round draft picks have not. LJ Collier, what has he done in 2 years? Nothing. It's they have to start hitting on some of their guys, and with only three draft picks this year. Well, the Seahawks were the ones with 3 draft picks, right? Yeah.
No. Was that them or the Texans?
No, the Texans had more. I know that.
Oh.
Yeah, I believe.
You just remember that they gave up so much. It just seemed like, did they have anything left?
I believe
they didn't work out, but yeah.
Yeah. No team is a safety away from winning a championship. there's just no. It's not. All right, let's finish up here. We finally got over the half an hour mark, so that's good. At least maybe we'll have some more discussion on this last topic. But there was a video released today. The Madden 22 cover is officially being released on Thursday, June 17th, and I guess I can find the video real quick. I forget. I was going to show it, and then I was like, we could just talk about it. It's a pretty good video, I guess. Kind of weird, but why not? It does have a former where is it? If I can even. That's not what I want. That's still not what I want. What do I do on YouTube and I can't even find it? YouTube is no help. There's too many videos on YouTube, dude. Not counting ours. But yeah, so the concept that EA Sports put out is that there will be a GOAT or 2 on the Madden 22 cover. And here it is. I finally found it because I went to Twitter where I had seen it before. So we're going to new share. Google Chrome. Yes. Okay. Here we go.
Hey, it's Peyton. Yeah, they did it again.
Yeah, it's really stupid.
That was the first time I've seen the video. I mean, I saw like the screenshot of the goats at the end of the video, but I didn't actually see the video yet. That was a very interesting way to introduce the new Madden game. But yeah, like you said, there's a lot of speculation surrounding the cover of the game and who's it going to be. Obviously, when you think GOAT, the first person that comes to mind, at least for active players, would be Tom Brady. But he's already been on the cover a couple years ago. But has there been a repeat yet? I can't think. of it, but I don't think there has been a repeat cover athlete yet.
I don't think so, but anyone can do it, Chris.
Yeah.
That's the record. That's another record Tom's going for.
No, but this is only 22 though. I could see them doing something like that for like the 25th anniversary or whatever. But or not the 25th. They already had the 25th anniversary a couple of years.
Yeah.
But and that was Richard Sherman on the cover of that one. But yeah. When I think of like the Goatso, he's the only one that comes to mind that's like one of the best to ever play the game or whatever at any of the positions that's still active right now. The only other one I could think of is if they were going to do two athletes, the only one that I think could possibly be in the conversation for GOAT at their position would be his teammate Gronkowski. But they've both been on the cover before separate times.
Yes.
But I could see them doing a cover of them together in Buccaneers uniforms now. I don't know.
I think that's who it's going to be. It's going to be those two on the cover together. There was a poll on ESPN that asked, like, who do you think is going to be on the cover? And, like, Drew Brees was in it. Gronk. I don't even remember who else was in the poll. But, yeah. I don't know.
While you guys were chatting, I did at least check the records, and yeah, no, nobody's repeated thus far. And there have been at least a few times where you had two athletes on one, but it's been a couple years actually.
Yeah, the last time
we had two was 10 with Palomalu and Fitzgerald.
Yep.
There's Fitzgerald. 2010, Madden 10 was a great game.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't believe Dante Culpepper was on one.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, I miss the days where you got to vote on the cover, and like the fans actually got a say in who was going to be on the cover. Obviously, the player I always wanted to be on the cover never won, but yeah, I can't think of anybody else if the GOATs actually meant anything. I can't think of anybody else to be on the cover.
Yeah, or I don't know. I don't know if it necessarily is a current player though. If they wanted to put.
Yeah. Because even if we're going back to 14, that was Barry Sanders, and he very clearly wasn't playing at that time. So I mean, it would be interesting to see who they open that up to. I mean, any thoughts on who else you would include if you're including your non-active players?
Yeah. The reason Barry was on in 14 because that was the 25th. But as far as GOATs, the only one I could think of would be Peyton because he's never been on the cover. So, and it would help also that he's going into the Hall of Fame this year. So that or one of the other people that they said in the poll though, which I thought was the stupidest choice, was Belichick. And I was like,
there's no way.
There's absolutely no way because he's never been in the game.
No.
He's the only coach to not be in the game. So why would he be on the cover?
Yeah, he wouldn't allow himself to be on the cover if he's not going to be in the game. Yeah. But yeah, if it is a quarterback though, I mean, I could see Peyton. But if we go back another 20 years or whatever it is, the player that I feel Tom Brady's most compared to would be a guy like Joe Montana. And I could see the two of them being on the cover together.
Yeah. I don't know.
Just trying to check. Has Dion ever been on the cover?
Yes, he has, I believe.
Like a 90s one, maybe?
He was way back then. Yeah.
That would have been my guess. Yeah.
So
I know he hasn't been on it in the last 12 years, but
Dion was way too good to not have been on the cover. So
yeah. Well, I guess it depends on when Madden started, and I mean, I know I'm one of the older ones, but I don't even remember that.
Madden started.
Thinking about the other side of the ball. like Lawrence Taylor would be another recommendation for me. You're talking about somebody that really kind of revolutionized defensive play. Definitely him.
Madden started in '89. I knew that. Right, yeah, so maybe 2014 wasn't the 25, but that's 09, whatever. Yeah, close enough. Yeah, so Madden cover athletes. This is only, that's dumb. This is only 99 to present. Yeah, Barry in 2000. Or no, that was the, yeah. So, I don't know. Oh, another person in that poll. Oh no, I already said Drew Brees. Yeah, he's already been on the cover before. Who knows? It's tough. Calvin's already been on the cover before too, even though he's going in the Hall of Fame this year. I don't know.
Yeah, but what was the date of the video? Did it say a date or no?
Thursday.
So we'll find out before the Friday show, and we can talk about it on Friday and see if any of us were right. But yeah.
Yeah, I think
say who they should have picked.
Oh yeah, that too.
I still think the Peyton Hillis was still the weirdest cover athlete.
I remember that.
He got on because of that fan vote, though, Chris. That's why they stopped doing it. Because Peyton Hillis won the dang fan vote. 2012, Peyton Hillis. That's the funny thing. He literally had one season. He had one good season with the Browns, and that was it. I think the only one on this list that would be weird would be Dorsey Levens. I don't even know what that little cross thing means beside his name. So, because Dorsey Levens was not on the freaking cover.
So you got me going down the rabbit hole. The first couple of Madden ones weren't even on consoles. They were on like PC in '88, which I could only imagine how terrible those graphics were, looking like Tecmo Bowl or something.
Oh, here I have a slideshow of all of the Madden covers, all 31 of them. Nice little Sean Alexander. That was a great. Again, he was another guy, kind of one season. Oh, and then you get to the Madden 2000, where it's John Madden himself, and 99 and 98. There weren't cover athletes until Barry.
Wait, so he was a two-time cover? Because he was the Madden 25 athlete.
Let me see, because he was on in 2001. Madden, no, that was Eddie George. Never mind. It was blue. They're both blue teams. I was getting confused.
So if you said 14, right? That Barry was on also.
Mm-hmm.
Then yeah, he's the one repeat. So he was also there.
Barry wasn't on. Barry wasn't on in 01. It was Eddie George. But yeah, 14, Barry Sanders. God, why was Richard Sherman on in 2015? Why?
That was when they were good.
Why?
That was like the peak of their.
That would have been the year after the worst call in football history.
Yeah, the interception to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The pass play that should never have been called after Marshawn Lynch gets you in the red zone.
So, yeah, never had repeat. Gronk was on in 17. Brady was on in 18. Patrick Mahomes in 2020. Those are really the only three that I can think of that are active. So,
And you can't even really call Mahomes a GOAT. I mean, obviously, I think he will be eventually, but his career, yes, it's been great, but if it were to end right now, he could not be considered the greatest of all time.
yeah. I know one thing that he can be called, though. He's the ROAT, though. He is the richest of all time, that's for sure.
Fair.
All right. I think I haven't seen anything else new pop up, so that looks like that is the end of the show for today. Like I
Right.
said, this Friday we'll have our AFC East season preview. And next Friday we'll flip on to the NFC side, go to the NFC East. Maybe I shouldn't have done the NFC East. Maybe I should have went reverse and do NFC West, and then. But we're gonna roll with this way. So yeah, we'll be talking Jalen Hurts, Chase Young, Dak, all of the NFC East. I'm not even gonna say a Giants player because I don't want to. But yeah, I'm excited for that. We'll see how high I am on my Eagles there in Philly. And I'm very excited for Chris's thoughts on his Jets on Friday. So,
Yeah, I mean, I was very high on them last year. That was probably not warranted to be as high as I was on them last year. I mean, I think I had them going 8-8 last year. Obviously, they only won 2 games last year, but hey, a little preview. I think that they can maybe get closer to my prediction from last year.
yeah, I agree. But we will save that conversation for Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Thank y'all for watching today. We appreciate it. FAApodcast.com is our website. Check out our shop. Check out all of our other shows that we've had in the past. Also at FAA Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. Have some nice stuff, cool stuff coming up. Hopefully in the future. Also, and Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever you get your podcasts, check us out. We are on all of those formats as well. Like I said, we appreciate the love. Prayers up for Christian Erickson and his family. Hope you get better, Christian.